and welcome to the Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin. I'm Dave Bradley. Pat Gonzalez joining us in the booth for this second race of the 2024 season as we bring to you three divisions all on the track all at the same time. If you're unfamiliar with the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin, essentially that grouping of cars, the GT4s, so that is the fastest of the group, theoretically, the most horsepower anyway, 450 horsepower, about 3,200 pounds, so a little heavier but higher top speed at 260 kilometers an hour. The TCR group, lower horsepower by about 100, 350, front-wheel drive, but 2,700, just under 2,800 pounds overall. So that tends to lead to higher lap times, especially here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, where you can keep that momentum up in those TCR cars. The final grouping that we'll be bringing you is the TCA class, and that is really the entry level here in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin. So about 190 horsepower front-wheel drive, 1.5 liter turbo, 4 cylinders, 2,400 pounds, and a top speed of 150 kilometers an hour. So that you'll notice on this Andretti straightaway when the different classes get mixed up amongst each other, but it makes for great racing. On pole for the GT4s will be the 22 of Jack Polito. Alongside him will be the 77 of Caden Goodrich, and then the 4 of Justin Di Benedetto. So that's the way they will start in the GT4 class. There will be a break back to the TCR class, and there it is. It's all strung out right now, but Richard Boak, who picked up the win yesterday, will start on pole. Alongside him will be the 52 of Dean Baker, and the rest of the field will try to catch up here on the final formation lap for the TCR. Ron Tomlinson, and then it is Connor Attrell in the 80 car. Quinn Attrell actually had a great run going. Both Attrells did. Let's be honest. Quinn Attrell will start just in behind Connor, but talking to them, so Connor Attrell had a wheel axle go bad on the last lap. He said he felt a vibration but thought he could nurse it home. It ended up just absolutely exploding. I saw parts and pieces of it in the paddock area. Quinn Attrell, unfortunately, a fuel pickup problem. That was his issue in the dying laps of yesterday's race. Although that driver there is the youngest. So the driver of the 95 is Anthony Martella, the youngest driver ever to race in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin. And he showed some great speed in race number 1 at just 15 years old. Worked his way up through the field and finished on the podium in the TCR class. So it's another story within a story, and there's lots to be told here over the course of the 2024 season in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin as the field lines up in behind the pace car. So this is the GT4 class, and they will get the first green. You can tell the difference between the three classes by their number panel. So the GT4 with a blue number panel, the TCR yellow, and the TCA has a green number panel, but the GT4s will be the first onto the front straightaway. Jack Polito, and then a pair of Porsches, Caden Goodrich and Justin Di Benedetto will see the green flag, and we're underway here in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin.
And they're going to go side by side down into turn number 1. Polito turning back the bid here by Di Benedetto as they go under the Chevrolet bridge, and they're still side by side through the bottom of turn number 2. Polito should have the preferred position for the run into turn 3, and he will hold it off.
Yeah, it's a great battle at the front as the TCR class takes the green flag. You can see some damage to the back end of the 52 of Dean Baker. Now, he had some trouble in race number 1. or is that is the front fender flapping on the 52 of Dean Baker. But he had some trouble, backed it into the wall in turn number 8, and essentially what he did was just push those Michelin tires a little too hard, got them a little too hot, lost traction, and just went around. So that was a rare mistake from the defending series champion, who's not running the full season in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada. Instead, he's going to participate in the CTMP Cup presented by Homologato Watches, which is essentially focused on the 4 races being held at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Here's your GT4 cars working off of turn number 10. It is Jack Polito. In fact, that was Caden Goodrich who was battling early with Polito, who will lead him down into turn number 1. Justin DiBenedetto in the number 4 Porsche 718 Cayman in 3rd. So that is how those first cars go through here, all GT4s, and then the 84 of Richard Vogt, who won the TCR class yesterday, looking to double up. But definitely some issue with that right front bodywork on the number 52 car of Dean Baker.
Little haze of the tires from the 66 of Gary Kwok in the Honda as he chases Ron Tomlinson. Tomlinson in the 48 having a great little run in the early going. The red-nosed Audi, there you see it just in behind the 52 of Dean Baker. The 48, there's Tomlinson, and there is Kwok battling with the 2 Atrells, Connor Atrell and Gwyn Atrell. Now, Connor was testing out that car. They did make repairs to the front axle. He was not sure how well it would perform. He took it for a quick trip around the paddock area as sort of a test session, because he had no practice between first race yesterday and race number 2 here today. So he wanted to make sure it was going to hold together. He gave it the thumbs up, and yeah, that car's fast, and that's something that he said. He's like, I know I have speed. I just need to finish the race. And he says, I'm pretty sure I could get a good finish out of it. And he's giving a good run to that Quaker State Hyundai Elantra, and just in behind the Hyundai Veloster and of Gwyn Atrell. So a little bit of brotherly battle there. And don't think there's no competition between brothers. There definitely is.
And Gwyn Atrell and Connor right there with Anthony Martella. There are 5 of those TCR cars all running together. And up in the point there among those 5 is Gary Kwok in the Honda, along with the Atrell brothers and Martella. And Martella will go in on the inside and split the Atrell brothers here on the racetrack as they work back down into turn number 1. Working lap 3, Jack Polito, your overall leader, and running up front in GT4, Caden Goodrich, 77 in 2nd, the 4 of Justin DiBenedetto 3rd, and then your TCR leader, Richard Vogt, running 4th overall, Dean Baker in 2nd, Ron Tomlinson is 3rd, and then we've got the gap back to that multi-car battle for 7th on back. 66 Gary Kwok in 7th, 80 Connor Atrell runs 8th, 95 Anthony Martella 9th, and Gwyn Atrell rounds out your top 10.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Sports Car Championship Canada racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The Sports Car Championship Canada is brought to you by Michelin, the presenting partner of FEL Motorsports. By Braden Motorsport, the official trackside tire support and service provider for FEL Motorsports. The CTMP Cup is presented by Homologato, the official timepiece partner of FEL Motorsports. The FEL Motorsports Nitro Center is brought to you by Purity Gas, the official nitrogen supplier for FEL Motorsports. Richard Boak, who had a bit of a gap on the 52, but Dean Baker is not going away. Baker from nearby Bowenville, he knows this track like the back of his hand. He probably has a million laps around this place, although Boak does as well in different levels of motorsport. So these two drivers very familiar with the 10 turns here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And Richard Boak riding the curb in turn number 9, and again touches the curb in turn 10 once again as the two TCR class cars continue nose to tail. Jack Polito just laid down the quickest lap of the race of any car on track. So the 22 is moving along very well with about a 2-second gap over the 77 of Caden Goodrich. But this battle is for 4th on track, and it's for the lead in the TCR. It was 0.4 of a second that time they crossed the line. And it's probably even less than that right now. And look at this deeper in the field. So Connor Attrell in the 80 took a look up on the outside. That's turn number 3 of the 66 of Gary Kwok. It jacked up the field in behind, and Quinn Attrell might be the benefactor of that as he took a look on Martella, decides better of it, follows along in turn number 4. Martella tucks to the inside on the entrance of turn number 5, and again, Quinn Attrell moving to the outside. Really good drive so far from the 38 of Megan Tomlinson. And again, this is only her 2nd race in the FEL Sports Car Championship.
Megan
in that TCR class. She moved up from the TCA class last year.
And she is part of that multi-car battle, all TCR runners, as at the end of that Andretti straightaway, Anthony Martella took a look down on the inside there of Connor Attrell. Gary Kwok continues to lead this 5-car battle on the start-finish straightaway. And here is Martella taking a look down. He was 2nd yesterday in TCR.
There's your lead in the TCA class. Eric Kuntz had a quiet, solid run in race number 1, was able to handily take home the win to open the 2024 season. And once again, he's out in front, but he's got Robert Cipriani Dietrich in the 5-car. He's the only American driver in the SCCC, is Robert Cipriani Dietrich. He comes from Illinois, as a matter of fact, from Chicago, and he raced radicals last year down through the U.S., moving up north of the border, getting a little bit of feel to racing a sedan and a sports car, and he's doing pretty well behind the wheel of that Subaru BRZ. What a place to learn, especially in different classes all mixed in. You have to watch your mirrors as well as you have to watch out the front windscreen.
Working lap number 6, the fastest lap of the race belongs to the 22, the Perlito Ford Mustang, who has just gotten around our TCA class leader, Eric Kuntz. And in fact, Polito about a 1/10 of a second quicker than his best lap from yesterday. Those blue flags being displayed by the corner marshals indicating to that driver that he is about to be lapped. And we've got a battle here between the two Porsches in GT4, the 77 of Caden Goodrich just ahead of Justin DiBenedetto. Meanwhile, the 86 car of Quinn Attrell. Quinn Attrell fighting it out here with Martella, is trying to get back around that Audi a couple of times, has been able to get it done.
The 66 of Gary Kwok has fallen back several positions. As a matter of fact, Connor Attrell has managed to get around Martella, and now Quinn Attrell has as well. And now Gary Kwok trying to fend off a challenge from the 38 of Megan Tomlinson. So we did see some intermittent issues on the 66 of Gary Kwok yesterday, and it looks like they may not have been solved as that car was quick in the early going, and he's sliding back just a little bit in the M&S Racing Honda Civic, but still at the front and still the top two able to gap now. 3rd place, Ron Tomlinson, but a pair of Audis at the front in Richard Boak and Dean Baker. And they were running this way. Boak managed to track down Dean Baker and get around him in race number 1. And then Baker had his issues going around and ending up backed into the turn 8 tire barrier. Again, no significant damage to that car, as they were able to make the necessary repairs. Just essentially check it over to make sure there was nothing too badly damaged. With the 52 back in the throes of battle here today, and trying to get around the 84. That's a tough car to get around, as the 84 Richard Boak has the most race wins in TCR here in the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin.
Both of those drivers on lap number 6 put up their fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 23.165 for Boak. Baker, a minute 23.373 as the race leader. Jack Polito goes through. Goodrich 77 in second. De Benedetto running third. And now the battle here up the back straightaway. It is the 80 of Connor Attrell running in 7th overall. That's 4th in TCR. 5th is Anthony Martella in TCR, and then Quinn Attrell 86. And so right now we've got pretty good scraps for those final podium positions in GT4, and a pretty good fight for some of those top 5 spots in TCR.
Yeah, it's great to see. And these two drivers are teammates, by the way. So they come out of the same hauler, hang out underneath the same tent, drive essentially the same vehicles in those Porsche Cayman 718s in Justin De Benedetto and Caden Goodrich, and both of them dipping their toe into a GT4 car for the first time here in 2024. Caden Goodrich ran about half the season in a Radical last year. Justin De Benedetto running 2 seasons in a TCR car. So those are very different. Obviously a Radical much lighter and a little bit more, well, a lot more downforce, whereas the TCR class, front wheel drive, much different handling characteristics from what this Porsche Cayman would be for these two drivers. So they're learning, but battling each other on the track and pushing each other as well. Just about 2.6 seconds back of your overall race leader in Jack Polito, who, let's put an asterisk beside Jack Polito, has never lost behind the wheel of a GT4 car here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park to date. He is that good here at this track. That driver is definitely spectacular to watch when he gets behind the wheel of a Ford Mustang. Different Ford Mustang last year, brand new car out of the Multimatic shop this year, and Multimatic has been known for making the Ford GT Le Mans car, the Porsche. They build a lot of the suspension components for the Porsche LMP car that competes down in the U.S. So yeah, they know a thing or two about a thing or two, and they built that car from the ground up, and it is very fast.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Sports Car Championship Canada Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Welcome back to race number 2 of the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin.
The last couple of laps, Boak has picked it up, and Dean Baker not able to go with them. So for the moment, Richard Boak has stretched that lead out now to almost 3 seconds as they work up the Andretti straightaway. Over in the TCA class, that is where Eric Coons, after winning yesterday, has opened up quite a lead on the 5 Subaru BRZ of Robert Cipriani Detrez. And then 12 Peter Hansen runs 3rd. Chloe Drummond going through here 4th in TCA.
There's that battle for 2nd and 3rd here in the GT4 class, and a little bit different story from race number 1 that we've seen here in this class is that the two Porsches able to keep the Mustang GT4 honest here today. Jack Polito was able to seemingly easily open up a gap on the rest of the field yesterday. This time, not so much. It's just about 2 seconds, and it's been that way for the last several laps. So the Porsche group, the Policaro Motorsport VPX prepared cars, have found a little extra speed here in race number 2 of 2024. The driver's a little bit more comfortable as well, so that's going to help. But yeah, this is not over, not by any means, not in the GT4 class.
Well, it's starting to get interesting. That last lap previous, Polito was 1:24, and both Goodrich and De Benedetto were into the 1:23s, and this time through, they were almost identical.
This is Eric Kuntz in the TCA class car, but Ron Tomlinson is in third in the TCR, and now the 80 of Atrell has managed to catch him. He's dragged along the number 95 of Martella as well. So in through lap traffic has really shaken things up at the front of the field. So Tomlinson holds on to the final podium position in the TCR class. And Connor Atrell has to play a little defense as Martella moves to the outside in the Audi and will pick up that spot in turn number 8.
Brilliant move on the outside. Not often you can make that outside pass into the top of the S's work, but this 15-year-old just pulled it off as he now has moved up into fourth in TCR. Fifth is the 80 of Connor Atrell, then Quinn Atrell running sixth in the class as they peel off at turn number 1. And Martella starting to track down that third place car of Ron Tomlinson. Martella finishing ahead of Tomlinson yesterday behind the TCR winner Richard Boak. Then it was Martella and then Tomlinson, and now the Atrell brothers going side by side, and 86 Quinn has moved around the 80 car of his brother Connor.
There might be issues on the 80 of Connor Atrell. He backed off and let the 86 go by. So he said if he felt that there was something amiss with the front end of that car, he wasn't going to push it to risk further breakage or possibly a crash. So the Quaker State Hyundai, the 80 of Connor Atrell, a little bit off the pace down the Andretti straightaway. We'll see what he does. Maybe he'll nurse it home to try and collect as many points as he can. But right now, Quinn Atrell is the better of the two. So he moves up into that chase of Anthony Martella. But that swap of positions cost them a little bit of ground on the racetrack and a little bit of distance in between the two. So Quinn Atrell is about 10 car lengths back now. Connor Atrell going to stay on track as he passes pit entrance. And so he will continue on with just over 16 minutes down in this timed race for the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin.
That 52 car of Dean Baker has just turned his fastest lap of the race, a minute 23, yes, .215 for Dean Baker as he closes in here on Richard Boak. So Baker putting on a charge. He got close earlier, then dropped back, and now he's starting to reel in that 84 car of Richard Boak as Boak looks to double up here this weekend. And the battle shaping up here for third in the class between that black and red number 48 of Ron Tomlinson and that talented teenager in Anthony Martella running in the fourth place spot. Quinn Atrell trying to keep it close, but he is losing ground to Martella as he disappears up that Andretti straightaway.
Ron Tomlinson earning the nickname the Iron Man here in the TCR class. He started more consecutive races than any other driver in the history of the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. Yesterday marked his 31st, so 32 straight starts for the driver, the 48, and now he's got one of the youngest drivers giving a challenge in Anthony Martella. And we talk about this 15-year-old and how he might be new to the sports cars, but he's not new to racing, not by any means. As a matter of fact, he's been racing open wheel cars, the USF Junior and USF 2000 in the US with exclusive Autosport, and he has a pretty good coach in his corner in Jonathan Woolridge here this weekend, giving him some tips. Woolridge went undefeated in the Radical Cup just a couple of years ago before moving on to prototypes and continuing his pro driving career.
Anthony Martella closing on Ron Tomlinson in a Moss corner. That Martella Motorsports Audi right there, about 5 car lengths back as they work out of turn 5C. Head up that straightaway. Don't count out Quintrell. He is right there as well. This is a 3-way battle for the final podium spot in the TCR class.
Yeah, Connor Trell has dropped back just a little bit. He was hanging on to the tail of that battle. So, yeah, he is trying to baby his way home in that Hyundai Elantra, and just behind this trio of cars on track, a pair of Audis and one Hyundai, and Ron Tomlinson leads that one off. So this is a battle for the final podium spot in the TCR class, and into lap traffic goes the GT4s. Eric Kuntz, your leader in the TCA. He might have mixed up the running order, and he does, as Justin DiBenedetto saw an opportunity and an open door and walked right through it in the 4 cars. Now it's Caden Goodrich who has to pressure his teammate for a little while. They swap spots and see, well, where are you running that makes you a little bit quicker, as Caden Goodrich now trails the 4, and a big slide from Justin DiBenedetto on the exit of turn number 9. There's the door reopening for Caden Goodrich, and back into second spot goes the driver of the 77. What a moment for the driver of the 4, though.
Nice bit of driving there by DiBenedetto, able to save that car. It looks like he was about to slide off of the racetrack. It's about 3 seconds from the leader, Jack Polito, in that Polito Ford Mustang, and the second place Porsche Cayman of Caden Goodrich in car number 77. He is 3 seconds back. Justin DiBenedetto in third, and Richard Boak followed by Dean Baker. It's just about 2 seconds between first and second there in TCR, and then we're closely following that 3-way battle for third in TCR, involving the 48 of Ron Tomlinson, Anthony Martella in that white Martella Motorsports Audi, and then Quinn Attrell, car number 86, 8th overall, followed by Connor Attrell, 6th in car number 80 in 9th, and then Megan Tomlinson rounding out your top 10 overall, and 7th among the TCR class cars. Gary Kwok, who ran strong early, has faded to 11th overall, and then it is Jonathan Young in car number 8, and then among the TCA cars, 25 Eric Coons is your leader, and 13th overall Robert Cipriani Detris in car number 5, followed by Peter Hansen, who is 3rd in the class, and the final runner up there, Chloe Drummond in the Hyundai, car number 26.
Still that flapping piece of front fender on the 52 Audi of Dean Baker, as he continues to lose a little ground to your race leader. So the difference is Richard Boak comes through to complete his time, and now it's about 3 seconds the gap between the top 2, as Ron Tomlinson is working his way through turn 8. So I was going to suggest, I saw a flash of car and I thought he might be getting close, but not quite yet, as he'll come through to turn number 10. There's Chloe Drummond in the 26. So again, this is her first weekend. You see the yellow rookie stripe on the back bumper of the number 26, indicating to the drivers behind that a rookie here in the TCA class. But Chloe Drummond does a good job at seeing the faster cars in behind and giving way without interfering in their battle, as Martella moves to the outside in turn number 2. He's going to take all of that runoff area, exceeding track limits just a little bit, but that's okay. All is fair in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada Series. Martella falls in behind the 48 of Ron Tomlinson, but that does open the door for Quintrell to reel them in. He sunk his hook to the back bumper of the 95 of Martella as they continue to work through the TCA traffic, as Peter Hansen pulls to the outside, leaves that inside groove open, and all 3 of them make it through unscathed.
Well, that little run through the bottom of turn number 2 where Martella ran wide, that has cost them several car lengths. Tomlinson up the Andretti straightaway, now with a little bit more breathing room on Martella, and then Quintrell right there. Also, the fastest lap of the race now belongs to your TCR leader, Richard Boak, running 4th overall. That previous lap for Richard Boak, a minute 22.756, by about a tenth of a second quicker than your overall race leader and the leader in GT4, Jack Polito, in that Polito Ford Mustang continues to lead, and he still has about 3.5 seconds ahead of the pair of Porsches. Caden Goodrich, 77 in second. Justin DiBenedetto in car number 4 back there in third.
And I think the 4 car might have overheated those Michelin tires when he did manage to get around the 77. Caden Goodrich had that huge moment, a big slide, and he might have heated them up too much because he's lost a lot of ground to the 77 with Caden Goodrich when he'd been pressuring him in the early going of this race. So Caden Goodrich seemingly having his way now with his teammates in the Porsche 718 Cayman as they continue to chase Jack Polito. But we can tell you that Polito and this man here, Richard Boak, they've been getting very comfortable on the top step of the Braden Motorsport podium here in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin, as Boak picking up his 6th career win in race number 1 here in 2024. Jack Polito once again stepping on the top step of the podium in GT4. He's never missed here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Polito is now 12 wins to his career credit, and on his way to win number 13, 3 seconds the gap at the GT4s.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Sports Car Championship Canada Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Welcome back to race number 2 of the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin.
TCA class is the entry-level class. So this is where you get your feet wet. So the Karts to Cars program to get drivers out of go-karts and into sports cars. And this is exactly where it starts. You see the Honda Civics, the Subaru BRZ, the Hyundai Veloster. Those are the types of vehicles in this group. And yeah, they're race cars. They're a little bit down on horsepower, so it really, you get your feet wet by learning car control, and that's problems for the 80 car. So we suspected there was issues on the 80 car of Connor Luttrell, and he pulls down pit lane, so his day is done, and it looks like it might be an axle issue. He suspected that might have been the case, but was going to go out and give it a try and hope it held together. And unfortunately, it's going to end a little bit early, much as it did in race number 1.
That 3-car battle here for 3rd, 4th, 5th among the TCR cars. And again, they carry the yellow competition number plate on the cars. They come in at turn number 10. Martella is to within a couple of car lengths here of Tomlinson, the young driver looking for his 2nd podium finish this weekend after finishing 2nd to Richard Boak. And Boak, who had the fastest lap of the race yesterday, likewise here today, a minute 22.756. Not quite as quick as his minute 22.244 yesterday. They split that car of Coons coming in at turn number 3. Luttrell is all over Martella for that 4th place spot. This is the battle for 4th and 5th. About to roll under the Chevrolet bridge as they work down to the bottom of turn number 2. And here is Quinn Luttrell through Moss Corner, and now the climb up the back straightaway. Martella doing a nice job of holding him off, but as they fight it out, that's allowing Tomlinson to disappear up the Andretti straight.
Now, interesting to note about that battle between Martella and Quinn Luttrell. Yesterday, Quinn Luttrell went for a low, lazy slide in turn number 8 after getting out in the marbles, all the dirt on the extreme outside in turn number 8, and they were working lap traffic then again, Martella went to the extreme inside. Quinnitrell went to the outside. It ended up costing him, but this time it was advantage Quinnitrell through lap traffic. He was able to really close in on the number 95 of Anthony Martella. And now he's glued to the back bumper of that Audi. So the Hyundai Veloster is closing in, but it's all thanks to the driving of Quinnitrell and thinking about what he was going to do while navigating lap traffic. Good heads-up move by the young driver. We say young driver, but there's a driver even younger right in front of him.
And right now we work lap number 20. That pace among those three cars battling for third in TCR. Our lap times of a minute 25 and change as we come up here on a little less than 12 minutes to go. Your race leader overall and leading GT4 is Jack Polito in that Polito Ford Mustang. But Goodrich is mounting another charge here. It's down to less than 2 seconds.
Into lap traffic goes Richard Boak. He is your race leader now in TCR. He has been since the drop of the green and the FAF Technologies Audi. The 84 very comfortably working through the TCA lap traffic. So that's the slower class, the Peter Hansen driven number 12 Subaru BRZ. You saw Boak able to make that pass going into turn number 1, and a perfect example. And it's really interesting to see the differences in speed between the two classes. As second place Dean Baker now closing in on that TCA class car, and it's just a matter of pulling out and going around. It's the extra horsepower, the extra downforce on the TCR class car. It's really very much a step up. So you get your feet wet in the TCA, and then you really step up and you can really dive into the deep end of the pool with the TCR class cars.
On the back straightaway, Richard Boak has opened up about 5 seconds on Dean Baker, and they're well clear of that battle that's going on for third involving Tomlinson, 48, Martella, 95, and the 86 of Quinnitrell. Meanwhile, in GT4, your race leader working his way down through the bottom of turn 2. He'll go around that TCA car of Cipriani Detres into turn 3, but he better check his mirrors because Caden Goodrich is putting on a charge as it's down to just 1.8 seconds between the front-running Mustang and that Porsche Cayman.
Yeah, the GT4 caught lap traffic at a really inopportune time, and Jack Polito had to move to the outside in turn number 2 to make that pass. This is where he'll be able to set sail down the Andretti straightaway, and he does exactly that. Manages to get around Eric Kuhn. So he's your race leader in the TCA class. Robert Cipriani Detres is right there as well. So we have a bit of a race going in the TCA class. But yeah, things are starting to heat up at the front of the GT4 as Caden Goodrich got passed by Justin DiBenedetto in lap traffic, but then really settled in. I don't know if that lit a fire. He's managed to get his elbows out, and he's really been working that Porsche and turning in quicker laps consistently than the class leader in the GT4s. Jack Polito has been a little bit off the pace. Now, time not necessarily on the side of Caden Goodrich. The clock continues to tick, and Caden Goodrich is just slowly chipping away at that lead. Now 1.7 seconds the last time they crossed the stripe.
And then again, there's Polito getting hung up just a little bit behind that number 8 car of Jonathan Young. That's going to cost them some time. And the race leader did...
Polito is mad. You can tell he's flashing his headlights to the aid of Jonathan Young as he had to go to the outside in turn number 3 and couldn't make it stick back down. So that's going to cost him time on the racetrack as his battle now for third in the TCR class has once again closed back together. Ron Tomlinson and Anthony Martella, the two Audis, and the Hyundai Veloster of Quinnitrell. You can barely tell them apart as the shot from straight on, it looks like one car, but there's 3 in a line, and they are very tight. That's for the final podium spot in the TCR class.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Sports Car Championship Canada Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Welcome back to race number 2 of the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin.
The best battle coming through turn number 3 right now is third place in TCR as the 48 of Ron Tomlinson, Anthony Martella, number 95, and then Quinn Atrell in the Hyundai Veloster. They work down through Moss Corner, and don't count out Quinn Atrell. He is right there as Martella appeared to lose a little bit of ground there through turns 4 and 5, as Tomlinson will lead the trio up the Andretti straightaway on what is lap number 24, where we've got just about 7 minutes remaining in this 40-minute Sports Car Championship Canada second race of the weekend, presented by Michelin.
It's interesting to hear the drivers talk, and I did have a good conversation with Quinn Atrell about these Michelin tires that are used here in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. They are a very durable tire. They put up with a lot of abuse, but Quinn Atrell says there is a little drop-off. He says once it drops off, you get a good patch of the tire where you get sort of maximum traction, but you can overheat them as a driver. So if you abuse them, you'll lose that traction, that sort of peak traction zone, and once it drops off, it maintains. So you do have a good long-lasting tire underneath this car, but Quinn Atrell says it's up to the driver to decide when you want to use up that tire, when you want to keep the good. And it looks like Quinn Atrell has kept the good for the late going in this race, because that Hyundai Veloster has come on very, very strong, much the same as Caden Goodrich. And I was going to say that, but then a cracker of a lap from the 22 of Jack Polito as he turned up the wick again, a 123.8 to a 124.4 from Caden Goodrich, and all of a sudden that lead that was getting smaller is now back up to 2 seconds.
Indeed, he does pick up a couple of tenths there. We'll continue to monitor the battle for the win here in GT4. Jack Polito looking to go back-to-back after taking the win yesterday, was over 8 seconds ahead of Justin DiBenedetto, who right now runs in third. It is Caden Goodrich, who was third yesterday, moving up into second here in race number 2 as we wind it down, and they work to the bottom of turn number 1. The 48 of Tomlinson, 95 Martella, and 86 Quinn Atrell to decide the final spot on the podium. This battle for third in TCR working into turn 3.
And there you can see the leader in the GT4s mixed into lap traffic. There's TCR cars, TCA cars, and GT4s all mixed in together. And Caden Goodrich right there. Last time across the stripe, 0.9 of a second. So Caden Goodrich is within a second of your race leader. Can he get through the lap car of Gary Kwok going into turn number 3? He's up on the outside, and Kwok is going to hold it down low. So Caden Goodrich cannot make that pass through lap traffic, and that is going to cost him precious time, because the GT4 Mustang of Jack Polito did make it through, and now Gary Kwok running a defensive line on the inside of turn number 5, and that's going to further cost the 77 of Caden Goodrich time.
And he should be able to blow by here on the Andretti straightaway. But no doubt about it, that cost them at least half a second trying to get around that 66 car of Gary Kwok. And now Polito's got a slower car ahead of him as he looks in on the inside into turn number 8. Believe that is the Megan Tomlinson car that he just...
Oh, that was Dean Baker.
Oh, Dean Baker, pardon me.
So, yeah, Dean Baker's a veteran. He checked the mirror. He saw that that car that's coming up behind him is not one that's running for him or against him for position. So he yielded the spot to the 22 of Jack Polito in turn number 8 and then just slotted in behind. But Baker, that's just a great veteran move and great awareness on the racetrack of who is around you and where they are and what they're doing. So just open up that door, let him through, and it's not going to cost you anything. Even the 66 of Gary Kwok is a lap down to the 52 of Dean Baker. And now look, the door opens. The 77 of Caden Goodrich is going to go through as well. So let those two GT4 cars go and complete their battle here in the later stages of this race. Even if Gary Kwok gets through, it's no big deal to Dean Baker. Baker. Kwok is a lap down to the 52.
And on that previous lap, which was lap number 26, Dean Baker, who's running 5th overall and second in TCR, had his fastest lap of the race, a minute 23.054, but is the driver he is chasing, Richard Boak, in car number 84 with that minute 22.756, still fastest among all of the drivers here. As we wind it down, coming up on a little over 2 minutes remaining in the run, and that battle continues to shape up here as Polito comes through turn number 9 and into 10. It's down to, I believe, less than a second as Polito will put lap number 27 up on the board. Goodrich going through. It is just exactly 1 second separating first and second for the overall win. So Goodrich, who was 3rd yesterday behind Polito and DiBenedetto, has got a shot at his very first GT4 win.
Yeah, we've talked about how good Jack Polito has been here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but I think this is as close as he's had a challenge this late in a race, as Polito is quite often usually about 10-15 seconds out on the rest of the field. He's been that good. Caden Goodrich now just a little bit over 1 second behind the driver of the 22. There's Richard Boak comfortably in the lead in the TCR class. You can see the flash of car behind him. I believe that was Dean Baker. They're almost on the same screen, but that gap is about 2 seconds. And Tomlinson off track on the exit of turn number 10. You can see some smoke and dust, so I think the 48 did go around in turn number 10.
And that is going to move Martella up into 3rd in TCR, Quinnitrell to 4th. As we
actually, Quinnitrell crossed the line ahead of Martella, so likely contact between the 95 and the 48. White flag being shown. One more lap to decide it, and look at how tight it is. Half a second at the front of the field in the GT4 class. Jack Polito is going to have his hands full. Caden Goodrich is all the way over the rumble strip on the exit of turn number 1, trying to keep up that momentum in the Porsche Cayman 718. Boy, what a race here at the front.
And they're down through turn number 3 right together, just about 4 or 5 car lengths across the line. It was half a second between the Ford Mustang and the Porsche. Richard Boak has actually worked his way up into 3rd overall, your TCR leader, as they work through Moss Corner for the final time. It is 2 car lengths separating that front-running Mustang of Jack Polito.
He'll have a drop now down the Andretti straightaway. Caden Goodrich, and you can see Jack Polito wise to that as he dives to the inside. He'll drive a defensive line all the way down this big long back straightaway. But Jack Polito, for the first time, having to defend on the final lap through the final set of corners. Caden Goodrich right there, not able to make a move in turn number 8. Not quite close enough through turn number 9, but very tight here at the end, and off to the final turn. The win will go to the 22 of Jack Polito. He keeps his undefeated streak alive, but just barely over the 77 of Caden Goodrich. What a race in the GT4 class at the end of this one. Couple car lengths, the difference between those two. Ricky Bobby in the 84, Richard Boak will come through winner of the 2nd race of 2024. So 2 for 2 for the driver of the 84, the Fact Technologies Audi at the line, and the TCA class goes to the number 25. He will win his 2nd of the season.
Welcome back to race number 2 of the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin.
Big congratulations to the top 3, Jack Polito, Caden Goodrich, and Justin DiBenedetto in the GT4.
Jack Polito, another victory here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but you had your mirrors pretty full in the closing laps of this one, a real battle.
Oh yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it very much.
Tell me about the fight and when you noticed that you were under attack late in the race.
Well, I knew I was under attack on the entire race. I was looking in my mirrors, making sure I knew what the gap was going to be, and yeah, just catching up to lappers can cause real hassle, and a second can be gone just like that, right? So everything you worked hard for, pushing for, can disappear really quickly and then they're on you. So you got to save your tires and run a smart race. But I think we did pretty good. Thank you.
Richard Boak, Dean Baker, and Quinnitrell up top 3 in the TCR class.
Richard, another victory in TCR here at CTMP, but the competition throughout this entire race was sensational to watch. You had a great view of it.
Yeah, it was really good. You know, at least we got a good start this time. Can control the pace from the start. And then I was just kind of managing Dean's times, and when he would edge a little bit on me, I'd push, and then when I'd see his tires were falling off, I would cool off. Just in case we got a late full course caution, I wanted to make sure that I had something for the end, so I was just keeping the gap, managing my tires, and making sure we're ready for whatever gets thrown at us. Thank you.
Eric Kuntz, Robert Cipriani-Dietrich, and Peter Hansen, the top 3 in the TCA class.
Eric, another victory here at CTMP. You couldn't relax for really a minute in this one. It was a fight all the way through.
Yeah, a little bit. I was worried about running out of fuel again, so I was lifting and coasting through most of the race, trying to save as much fuel as possible for the end. But tires fell away towards the end, and yeah, it was a real struggle to get through some of the corners. Thank you.
The Sports Car Championship Canada is brought to you by Michelin, the presenting partner of FEL Motorsports. By Braden Motorsport, the official trackside tire support and service provider for FEL Motorsports. The CTMP Cup is presented by Omologato, the official timepiece partner of FEL Motorsports. The FEL Motorsports Nitro Center is brought to you by Purity Gas, the official nitrogen supplier for FEL Motorsports.
Well, once again, a big congratulations to the 3 winners, Jack Polito, Richard Boak, and Eric Kuntz, here at the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin, here as part of the Castrol Victoria Day SpeedFest here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm Dave Bradley. Thank you to Pat Gonzalez for joining me in the booth, and we'll see you next time.